Good morning, everybody. I am going to do a review of what we learned last class. So I have opened up After Effects here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new composition. I'm going to name it Walk, Jump, in my case, Example. And then my preset is going to be our NTSC DV widescreen. And then you're going to change your frame rate to 24 frames per second. Your start time code will be all zeros. Your duration, let's just make this, since it's just a simple exercise on the walk jump, 10 seconds. And you can choose whatever background color. I'm going to choose black and then press OK. So there's our composition right here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. So this is the edge of our camera frame. Over here, you may or may not have this tab that says Effects Controls. You probably will just have the project. You can eventually get that once we start playing with actual effects, but not in this lesson. So in the project, now we have in here, this window pane, your actual composition. And down here, this would be where your layers are and your timeline. If you look at the time indicator bar, you can see that it says 00 dash, or excuse me, colon 12F. F stands for frames. When you have the mountains up, you can zoom in farther so that you can see, oh, this is frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, and so on and so forth. And remember, once you get to 24 frames, so here's frame 23, 24 frames is indicated by 1 second. Over here on the right, you have an info on your audio tab. You really don't need the info bar. You can close out of that. For this assignment, you don't need audio, but let's just go ahead and keep it there. Preview, you'll want to use the RAM preview, and you'll be able to check your animation. This is our frame rate, and then all the effects, but we're not using effects in this lesson. Down here at the bottom of your viewer, you have your zoom. You have your time code indicator, what time is it? And remember, time code goes hours, minutes, seconds, and then frames. And then you have your resolution. This is just a playback. It'll always be the resolution that you want it to be, that you gave it in the camera in the settings. This is just for playback, so if you have a really intricate, complex animation and you want to be able to play but it's having a hard time rendering, you can lower the resolution just so you can see the movement. This is our active camera. We will get into all the other cameras later on when we get into more three-dimensional space. We have a thing called views, so if I wanted to see different viewpoints of the camera, if I had more than one camera, then that's what I would use those for. So don't be afraid if all of a sudden your composition goes like this. It's just on views. So the rest of the stuff you really don't need to worry too much about. Alright, now we're going to bring in our character. So in the project panel, I'm going to right click and go Import, File. And then I have mine on the desktop. I'll do the character test. It's really important that you import as and then composition retain layer sizes. This will keep all your individual layers a specific size rather than the whole size of the image. So then we're going to press open. The default settings are fine, so just press OK. And then now we have our character test. So if I double click on character, now I see that I have my walk jump composition and I have my character test composition with all my layers. And as you see my cursor moving over the layers here, you'll see it also changing the little diagram of what's being selected. So what we need to do now is Pickwick. I told you guys that little spiral is called a Pickwick. We want to Pickwick our layers together so that they move together. So it's called a parent, and I'm going to take my right lower arm and attach it to my right upper arm. And then I'm going to take my right upper arm and attach it to my torso. This layer is my head. If I want to rename a layer, I just tap on it once, press return, and then it lets me retype in what it's called. I'm going to pickwick that to my torso. Lower arm is going to go to my upper arm is going to go to my torso, lower leg to my upper to my torso, lower leg to my upper, and upper to my torso. Okay, now that I have them all pickwicked and parented, I'm going to go to my walk jump cycle, and I'm going to drag my character test composition into my layers. So now this bar right here indicates my animation for that whole composition. And I'm going to zoom out so that I see this is 1 second right here, 3 seconds right here, 6, 9, and then 10. Alright, I'm going to take my move tool, my toolbar's up here, my move tool, and I'm going to move my composition, my little guy, just slightly off frame. And I'm going to click on the letter P on your keyboard. P stands for position. Right now, his position is set here. And if I click the stopwatch, it's going to create a keyframe. And that keyframe means that at 0, 0, 0, 0, he's going to start at this X and Y axis, which is right here. So now I want to indicate that, let's just go ahead and move at 10 seconds. That's going to be really slow actually. Let's go to 5 seconds. We're going to say that it takes 5 seconds for him to walk from this part of the screen to this part of the screen. So now that I have my stopwatch there, it'll automatically create a keyframe, and then I let go and move him over. And so now if I want to bring him back here, and if I use my spacebar, it'll play. And you can see how really slow he's going. I'm going to press pause again. I'm going to move this keyframe over to the 3. That's better. Maybe over to the 2. Better. It's not the greatest, but it's better. So now we need to get him to actually move his legs. Alright? So what we're going to do is go into the character test where we see all of his layers, and now we're going to actually move him into place. Now one of the things that I asked you to do as homework was create your walk cycle, and then I also wanted you to number it. Now I only numbered a few of these. I have a printout of them that has them all numbered myself, but it's going to take my character about 17 frames to do one complete loop. Yours might be different, okay? Whatever looks natural. So you may end up having to change a few things here and there. Alright, going back to this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so I can see all my frames. Okay, and then I'm going to put the time indicator. If I look at my frame 1, he's supposed to be with his back leg bent. So I'm going to, which is my back leg, oops, left lower leg. Alright. And then I can either hit the R for rotate, or I can use the little rotation tool. And I'm going to click the stopwatch, and then I'll just use the rotation tool, which is up here at the top underneath After Effects. And then I'm going to rotate, oopsie. Oh, I forgot one other thing, you guys. You need to, let's get rid of that keyframe. We need to anchor point everything. Okay, so at the very top of your screen, you should see a tool a little next to the movie camera, pan behind anchor point tool, or you can press the letter Y. For every one of your objects, you need to move the anchor to the corresponding joint. So if you watch me, my right upper leg is going to be attached right where the hip would be. My left lower leg, same thing. And then my right lower leg, right where the knee is. My upper arm for my left hand side. Left is my behind. And then lower arm at the elbow. My torso, I want to bend at the hip. My head at the neck. My right upper arm at the shoulder, and then my right lower arm at the elbow. Okay, so now I'll be able to stopwatch and take my rotate tool and move his leg. Now he's turning correctly. And then I also want to lift up his upper leg. And let's go back to my lower leg and move it. So now it's identical to my drawing. Okay, if I look at this and then I go back to my Photoshop, you can see my layer 1, the back leg is turned, my right leg is straight. And now I need to do my arms. So the arms, one is bent fully back, and then the other one is turned. So let's go ahead and go back to After Effects. And then, so my left upper arm is going to be rotated a little bit forward, and my left lower arm like this. I also need to bring this behind the leg, so I'm going to move it below. You can always move the hierarchy of your layers. And then my right upper arm, right upper arm, I'm going to bend back a little bit. Okay. So, one of the things that I just made a mistake on was the fact that I didn't have the stopwatch on all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and open all of those up. And hit the stopwatch on everything so that everything gets a keyframe. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward to keyframe 6. If you feel, and I'm going to go back to this reference sheet, if you feel like you need to put a different keyframe in somewhere in the middle between 1 and 6, you can go ahead and always go back and do that. But I'm just going to look at keyframe 6 right now. And it's where now you know what? I'm not going to be able to do keyframe 6 because otherwise it'll go from here backwards, and I need it to go forwards first. So I really need keyframe 3. So let's look at keyframe 3. And I'm going to go back here. So keyframe 3, move my indicator over here. And now I'm going to look at how I positioned it. So I have his body is going to rotate a little bit forward. I'm having a trouble like that. And then his left leg is bent like this, and then his bottom leg is like this, and then this leg is more straight. And this arm, actually, I need to get his upper arm. If you ever find that you can't click on something because it's behind something else, just go back to the layer, and that's why you have it labeled, so you know which one it is. And then I'm going to rotate that one, and then now I can click on this and rotate it like that. This one's fine, but this one can be curved. Okay, now let's look at our animation. Press play. Alright. Alright, let's go to keyframe 6. And now it should be that this leg is straight and in this position, and then my right lower leg is going to be bent. Oh wait, no, I want my left lower leg. And my left upper leg and then what are my hands doing? I have my left upper arm is going to be more straight there, and then my left lower arm is going to be like this, and then my right upper arm is going to be forward more. And then let's move my torso a little bit more back into position like that. Okay, so that's how you're going to rotate. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these off all the way to frame 17. And I'll just kind of fast forward through this in a time lapse, and then we'll pick off from there. Okay? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and see what's going on here. It's a little rough, but it works. Select all the keyframes all at once. You need to just do it one at a time. So here we can just select these keyframes by clicking and dragging over them. Move our time indicator to where we want to paste them to. Press Command C, Command V, and then it copies those keyframes. Same thing with the next layer. Next thing, so select all of them, Command C, Command V. Command C, Command V. And it's working only because I have my time indicator located where I want the step to be. So Command C, Command V, Command C, Command V, Command C, Command V. And last one, Command C, Command V. Now I have a repeat. So if I go back to the very beginning and I go over to my RAM preview, it's a very harsh walk. I know that there's some frames in there that are going too fast. It looks like it's slow enough in here, but it's not. That would be where you go back in and you tweak it and you move frames around, or you fix the animation. So if you don't like how something is moving, you go back in and you fix the rotation on it. You just need to make sure that if it's going to be on a specific keyframe, your time indicator needs to be lined up here. So remember, I had my animation walking for 3 seconds. So I actually need to make sure that my keyframes are duplicating up until 3 seconds. Oops. Alright, let's go to the beginning, press our RAM preview. It's like he has a little spurt of very fast running and then slows down. Alright, and now let's go to our walk jump example composition. Oh, I had it going to, let's just make it 3 seconds. And press play. Pause for a second. I'm going to expand this video so you can see the whole thing. And let's actually use the RAM preview. So he's really choppy, right? But it gets your character moving. What I want to see is that you refine your edges just a little bit more, and that's really because what I was doing was I was skipping several frames. I wasn't keyframing at each frame, and that's why it looks choppy.